You ever have one of those neighbors who just won't leave you alone? Yeah, that's Karen from our HOA. She's the kind of person who patrols the neighborhood like she's got a badge, making up rules, yelling about trash cans, and writing complaints if your grass is a quarter inch too long. But stealing cheese, that was a new one, even for her. See, I started noticing my fresh goat cheese going missing from the cellar fridge. At first, I thought I was losing my mind. Then I caught the security cam footage. It was Karen, sneaking in, like some kind of dairy ninja, every single day, Now, this wasn't just any cheese. I make it myself from my own goats, real work, real time, real effort. And there she was, helping herself like it was her personal snack bar. I tried locking the cellar. She somehow got in anyway. I even confronted her once, but she smiled like I was the crazy one. That's when I decided, if Karen wants to play weird, I can play weirder. So I let my friend Jasper, the goat with attitude, hang out in the cellar one afternoon. You'd think most people would hear hoofsteps and back off. Not Karen, she walked straight in, like usual. But this time, let's just say, Jasper had some thoughts about uninvited visitors. And what happened next? Well, let's just say the HOA hasn't been quite the same since. Now, before you think I went too far with the whole goat situation, let me back up a little. Jasper isn't just any goat. He's basically part of the family. He's smart, stubborn, and has a weird sense of humor. I've caught him opening latches, flipping buckets, even chasing the mail truck once just for fun. So when I told him to guard the cellar, I didn't expect much. But clearly, he took the job personally. The real issue started a few months back when the HOA announced new cellar access regulations, whatever that means. Karen was the loudest voice behind it, of course, pushing for random checks on unauthorized food storage. Everyone rolled their eyes, but somehow the board went along with her. That's when the cheese started disappearing. At first, it was little bits. A wheel here, a jar there. I thought maybe it was just me forgetting where I put things. But deep down, I knew something was off. Then I caught her on the camera. Not once. Not twice, 4 times, same floral jacket. Same smug expression. Walking in like she owned the place, stuffing cheese into one of those reusable tote bags with the little flamingos on it. That image is burned into my brain. And the worst part, when I brought it up at the next HOA meeting, Karen acted like I'd made the whole thing up. Said I was creating neighborhood tension. Meanwhile, my cheese stash kept shrinking, and Jasper was starting to catch on. After the 4th time I saw her on the camera, I knew this wasn't just some nosy neighbor being weird. This was personal. Karen wasn't just stealing cheese. She was making a statement. Maybe it was because I didn't sign her silly petition about solar panel colors. Or maybe she just hated that I kept goats in my backyard, even though the bylaws technically allowed it. Either way, she was using the HOA as a weapon, and now she was sneaking into my cellar like it was part of her job description. I tried going the polite route, sent her an email. Calm, respectful, with the footage attached. No response. A few days later, I got an HOA warning for non-compliant landscaping. That's when I realized she was escalating things. It wasn't just cheese, it was war, and she had the board wrapped around her finger. Meanwhile, Jasper had become more alert. He started standing near the cellar stairs on his own, like he was waiting. One evening, I saw him pawing at the door and snorting. That's when it hit me. Karen wasn't working alone. I started noticing little signs. The mailman acting nervous near my driveway. A neighbor who suddenly stopped waving when I walked by. And those strange tire tracks near my back gate. They weren't mine. Something bigger was going on, and Karen was right in the middle of it. But the question buzzing in my head wasn't why she was doing it. It was what she was planning next. The night everything came to a head, the air felt off. It was one of those still, too quiet evenings where even the crickets seemed to hold their breath. I'd set up a second trail cam, hidden just inside the cellar door because I had a feeling Karen wasn't done. And neither was I. Jasper had been pacing all day, ears twitching at every little noise. I swear he knew something was about to happen before I did. Around 11:47 p.m. Yeah, I checked the timestamp later. I saw headlights flash once across my backyard. Not the usual HOA golf cart either. A full-sized SUV with tinted windows. It pulled up near the alley, cut the lights, and sat there. No one got out at first. I stayed low behind the window, barely breathing. Jasper had already made his way to the cellar. I let him go. He wanted to be there. Then the cellar door creaked open. There she was. Karen. Same flamingo tote, same jacket. But this time she wasn't alone. A man followed behind her, tall, wearing a hoodie, holding what looked like bolt cutters. My heart dropped. This wasn't just petty theft anymore. This was a break-in, planned and bold. They moved fast. Karen was directing him with these quiet little hand gestures, like this wasn't her first time running a late-night cheese heist. Meanwhile, inside the cellar, Jasper was waiting in the shadows. And that's when the motion sensor kicked on, floodlights snapping to life, Jasper letting out the loudest bleat I've ever heard, just as the man reached for the fridge. The second those floodlights snapped on, everything went into chaos. Jasper charged, full speed, hooves thundering across the floor. Karen screamed, a sharp, panicked sound I'd never heard from her before, and the guy in the hoodie spun around, swinging the bolt cutters like they could stop a 150-pound goat with an attitude problem. Spoiler, they couldn't. But here's the part I didn't expect. As Jasper lunged, the guy shouted, asterisk, get the bag, asterisk, not asterisk, run. Asterisk, not asterisk, let's go. Asterisk, he was after something specific. Karen dove toward the back of the cellar, not the fridge, not the shelf where the cheese was, but a wooden crate I hadn't touched in years. It hit me then. This wasn't about cheese anymore. They were after asterisk that asterisk. Now that crate's been down there since I bought the place. It came with the house, nailed shut, too heavy to move, so I just left it alone. Never thought twice. But watching Karen scramble for it like it held the crown jewels, something didn't add up. I bolted from the house, flashlight in one hand, phone in the other. I didn't care about being quiet anymore. I needed answers. Jasper was still in full guard mode, stomping and bleating like a war horn. Karen was backed into a corner, yelling at the guy, "You said this was going to be easy." Easy? What exactly did they think they were stealing? That's when my foot hit something metal just outside the cellar door, half buried under dirt and leaves. A key, old, rusted, and shaped nothing like any lock on my property. I held the old key in my hand, heart pounding, dirt still clinging to the metal. Whatever was inside that crate, that asterisk, was what they'd been after all along. Not the cheese, not the cellar access nonsense, just that box I'd ignored for years. I stormed down into the cellar, Jasper still holding his ground like a furry linebacker. Karen froze the second she saw me. The guy backed up, still gripping the bolt cutters, but now his face wasn't cocky, it was scared. "What's in the crate?" I demanded. Karen didn't answer. Her eyes flicked to the key, and I saw it. Recognition. She knew exactly what opened. I walked over, brushing past them both. The crate was covered in dust, the wood worn soft at the edges. There was a strange symbol burned into the top, one I'd never noticed before, like a circle with tiny arrows. I slipped the key in. It clicked. Inside wasn't treasure or money. It was paperwork, dozens of old files, yellowed with time. HOA documents, land deeds, but the real kicker. A signed agreement, dated over 40 years ago, stating that my property wasn't under HOA jurisdiction. My land had been grandfathered in fully exempt, which meant Karen had no authority here. None. She knew it. She'd known it the whole time. As she stood there, caught between a goat and the truth, I finally said, guess your cheese days are over. And just when I thought it was all done, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Just one line. *Q opened the crate. We need to talk. *. I stared at the message, that cold sinking feeling settling in. After everything, Karen's drama, the cheese theft, the midnight break-in, now there was someone else. I didn't reply right away. I needed answers first. I called the county office the next morning, armed with the documents from the crate. They confirmed it. My property had been misfiled for years. Technically, legally, I was outside the HOA's reach. Karen had no right to enforce anything. No rules, no fines, no secret inspections. When I brought the news to the next HOA meeting, I walked in holding the original deed and the signed exemption. Karen wasn't there. She'd stepped down from the board for personal reasons. I didn't need to say a word. The rest of the members looked just as shocked as I'd been. Turns out, she'd been pressuring other neighbors too, pushing rules that weren't real just to keep control. As for the guy with the bolt cutters, he vanished, never showed up again. A few neighbors said he was Karen's cousin or maybe her boyfriend, but no one knew for sure. And the message on my phone, I eventually traced the number. It belonged to a local historian who'd been trying to track down lost property lines tied to the original farmland. Apparently, the crate had records connected to an old land dispute. Nothing criminal, just forgotten. Jasper got an extra bag of carrots that day, and my cheese, safe and untouched ever since. So yeah, moral of the story, never mess with someone's goat or their cheese.